Content warning for discussions on child abuse. If you are sensitive to this topic, feel free to stop at any time. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. In case you don't know, Squarespace is one of the leading platforms that allows you to build your own professional-looking website quickly and easily. Whether you are an artist, a musician, or a restaurant owner, you can always find a fitting template, make slight or in-depth adjustments, and create a website in no time. Head to squarespace.com/accentthecinema and use the code accentthecinema to get 10% off your first purchase. Quick, easy, and affordable, Squarespace is your one-stop shop for building the best-looking website. Visit squarespace.com/accentthecinema and give it a try right now. In elementary school, I had this classmate who came from a poor family. This kid had to attend school during the day and help his single father with work at night. Unsurprisingly, he wasn't very good at schoolworks. So one day, after failing an exam, our head teacher openly insulted him. She called him, and I quote, "a bastard without a mother." That was not an isolating incident. The most frustrating thing is, there was no place for us to complain against her. Our parents only asked our teachers about us, and rarely asked us about our teachers. So her toxic behaviors continued until we graduated. But that was nothing compared to what I have to show you today. Silence is a 2011 South Korean drama film based on true events that took place at a school for children with hearing impairments. And nothing will prepare you for what you are about to hear. It is one of the most gut-wrenching movies I've ever watched, but it is also one of the most important films ever made in the history of Korean cinema. It's a heavy movie, but I want all of us to face the heavy issue. So let me show you the story of Silenced.
근데 자유학원에는 무슨 일로 가세요?
애들 가르치러 가요.
In-ho is a newly hired art teacher at Jae Academy, where he teaches children with hearing impairments. And despite his best effort to be friendly, the students all keep themselves at a distance. We meet Yen-do, a girl who's always cold and closed off. Yuri, an absent-minded girl who's always eating. And Min-soo, a boy who shows up in class late with bruises on his face. The film spends a good deal of time building up a mystery. It's suspicious, but for a moment, assume you don't know the premise of the film.
아, 민수요? 그 녀석 동생이 며칠 전에 기차 사고로 죽었어요.
These are also perfectly common behaviors for children. Boys being boys, right?
이 몸에 장애가 있으면 이게 마음의 장애로 이어지거든요.
Our protagonist, being a good teacher, tried to look into the files to see what their problems are. And this is the insidious part. What their problems are.
또 고아야.
It's so easy to believe a problematic child is problematic due to their own fault. That night, In-ho heard a crying voice coming from the school bathroom.
안에 누구 있어요?
But then, the security stops him.
여기 애들은 심심하면 막 이상한 소리를 지르고 놀아요.
It's just easier to believe the adults are the trustworthy authorities, and the children are the problematic ones. Even the best of intentions often aren't enough to combat this inherent bias. In-ho walks away. Nothing will prepare you for what you'll see next. Trigger warning for violent abuse against children.
차려. 맞을 때도 예의를 지키라고 그랬지? 어?
This is how Min-soo got his bruises.
박 선생님, 무슨 일로 그러세요?
We only ever ask teachers about children and rarely ask children about the teachers.
이 녀석이 글쎄 밤에 기숙사에서 몰래 빠져나갔어요. 그것도 여자애들 둘이나 데리고.
But when we do ask children for the stories, we may realize the world is much different from their perspective. And it is a shocking perspective. Trigger warning for sexual assault against children.
연두가 성추행을 당했어요. 그것도 교장한테.
From Yeondu's words, we get to see the rotten side of the school. We learn that there were multiple assailants with many victims.
안에 누구 있어요?
신고하러 간 애들을 다시 학교에 넘긴 게 경찰이에요. 그 보복으로 애들이 그렇게 폭행을 당한 거고요.
With the children's testimony, they seek help from the authorities at the Office of Education.
방과 후요. 방과 후면 저희 소관이 아니네요.
예?
They go to the police.
어떻게 김호그리 애들 말만 듣고 그분한테 수갑을 채웁니까?
And this is how evil persists when good people do nothing. It seems very exaggerated, but this is exactly why victims of domestic abuse don't often seek help. In a survey published by the National Domestic Violence Hotline, nearly half of the surveyed victims of domestic violence felt discriminated against by the police. 2 in 3 women who contacted the police are afraid to call the police in the future, and the number one reason being the police would not believe them or would do nothing. And perhaps the worst statistics of them all, 1 in 4 women were arrested or threatened with arrest for reporting incidents of sexual assault or abuse. We all love to express outrage against abuse, but the reality is even you and I are not as ready to help as we think. When In-ho first witnesses his colleague violently assaults Min-soo, In-ho too fails to act. It's physical punishment, a bit extreme but not that bad, right? We have this bias towards authority figures. In this case, we trust the teacher more than a problematic child. We don't know who's the bad guy, so we choose not to act.
박 선생님, 무슨 일로 그러세요?
We really should have stopped the fight instead of asking questions. Evil persists because we do nothing.
내는 그저 네가 가르치는 아들 맨키로 입 닫고 귀 닫고 네 할 일만 하면 되는 기라.
Thankfully, news media picks up the story. The case goes to court. But the nightmare has just begun.
이런 분들을 모함하는 저 부실한 세력들의
At the trial, we'll get to see how the judicial system operates. In South Korea, there is an informal route called privileges of the former post. When a retired judge or a public prosecutor go on to become a lawyer in private practice, they can receive special treatments.
간부급 판검사 출신 변호사가 처음 맡은 사건을 꼭 이기게 해주는 관례가 있어.
Unsurprisingly, the defense lawyer is a former judge. The defense calls in 2 witnesses. Both of them lied in their testimony. The security guard can't afford to lose his job, meaning it is in his best interest to help the principal. The doctor who examined the victims claimed that the victims do not appear to be sexually assaulted. She is also connected to the principal.
검사가 그러는데 13세 이상 아이들에 대한 성폭행은 가해자가 부모랑 합의를 보면 기소 자체가 무효가 될 수가 있대.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, living in poverty, the parents of some children accepted the settlements.
민수 할머니 돈 보더니 바로 도장 찍더라.
Turns out, the judicial system isn't there to help vulnerable people. It's just a game to be won. Just like the individual in the system itself is also apathetic. The lack of empathy can be seen here.
어떤 사람이 유리양의 옷을 벗기고 아프게 했죠?
세 사람 다요.
Victims have to expose their painful memories in public just for a chance to see some justice. Not to mention this.
정말 그렇게 어린 여자아이와 성인 남성의 성관계가 가능합니까? 설사 가능하다고 해도 여자아이의 자발적 동의 없이는 불가능한 일 아닙니까?
This is the reality abuse victims have to face. Everyone within this system is doing their job, but no one is helping. And these children, they cannot hear or speak without the help of others. Their voices are silenced. Luckily, the prosecution dismantled all witness testimony and brought in irrefutable evidence. Every single accused is convicted. And they all received probation. Evil prevails.
얘 그런 일 당했을 때 나 거기 있었어. 안에 누구 있어요? 근데 아무것도 못했어.
If there is a movie that changed the world, this is it. 2 months after the film came out, the school in question was finally shut down. The case was reopened and the school administrator was sentenced to 12 years in prison for sexually assaulting an 18-year-old student. That same year, South Korea passed a bill named after this film, abolishing the statute of limitations for sexual assaults against children under 13 and people with disabilities. The maximum sentence was also raised. But perhaps the most important thing this film did is to remind us of the darkness inside all of us. We collectively have not done a good job listening to the voices of children, the voices of the vulnerable, the voices of the helpless. As the film has shown, it is so easy to become part of a system that enables abusers. All we need is to do nothing. This film changed South Korea because it changed people. It made people care. It made people reach out to the ones who need help. Hopefully, after you give it a watch, it will change you into a better person too.